Jeff will be right on the way. He's actually in the middle of doing one of his spiritual advising things, so he will be along shortly. And I just want to touch base with everybody, make sure that you guys know that you can find us on iHeartRadio, podcast, and Spreaker, and so much more. Look on the dtmwickedradio.com website, and you will see the different links to the different shows. We have a busy show tonight. We have 3 guests. First, we are going to have, well, I won't introduce them just yet, but we will have the 3 guests. And our new thing is midway through our show, around the 7 o'clock hour, we have Peter Jude Lavasco doing his up-to-date weather report. He also has a show on DTM Wicked Radio, and it is called Wicked Weather. Today, let's get to our first guest. Our guest is taking us beyond the bright light. He doesn't claim to be a medium or a psychic, and he didn't turn around at the bright light because someone told him that he still had to work to do. Our guest today is the author of The Raven Wings and 13 More Twisted Tales, in his new book, Star Child and 13 More Twisted Tales, Frank G. Poe Jr. Welcome to the show, Frank.
Yeah, hi. And I don't hide the fact that I claim to be the reincarnation of Edgar Allan Poe. That was the reason that I came back in the first place. So.
Well, you have that in your court that definitely helped you.
Yes.
That helps you. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you can be followed on social media, what your website is, and all of that good stuff.
I'm on Facebook as Frank G. Poe Jr. They can follow me there. They can type in the titles to either one of my books, Star Child and 13 More Twisted Tales, or Raven Wings and 13 More Twisted Tales, if they want to find out more about that. The paranormal part of it, the introductions of both of those books cover the reason I returned, because Edgar Allan Poe, as Edgar Allan Poe, I've been accused of being a drunkard, died of drug overdose and everything else. Everything was negative. My ego got the better of me on the other side. I basically planned this trip to come back this time to let everybody know that I actually died of multiple sclerosis. It wasn't anything that they knew at the time. And I basically put that in this journey this time. So I almost died from multiple sclerosis again in this life in order to jar my memory. A lot of other things I did to jar my memory, but I actually remember being on the other side planning this trip. And that's what makes me a little bit different than your psychic or your medium. I actually remember the other side. So.
Wow, that's fascinating. You said, yeah, a lot of most people don't remember the other side. We do realize as we go on in our next lives, or our future lives, and hopefully we will grasp something and learn something, and we just learn from there. Is that Jeff? Hey, welcome Jeff to the show.
What's up?
Jeff's here. All right.
I made it.
All right. Jeff, say hi to Frank Poe.
Hey, Frank.
Hello.
All right, so Frank, you have a website. Actually, I posted a link to your website. Tell people where else they could check out your work and what you're all about.
I also have a website called The Political Poet, and I actually hold a poetry competition every April for Poetry Month. And that, you just frankandpoe.blogspot.com. You got me there. That's that. I put the covers of my books there. I post radio interviews, the different things there. So, and anybody who's a poet is welcome to participate in the poetry competition. It's free, and there's cash prizes. Actually, I have a little ghost story from this side. Well, I worked as a tax examiner before I got sick with multiple sclerosis, and I actually closed a case with a ghost.
You did tell us a little bit about it.
I worked in the problem resolution department of the IRS at the time, so there'd be real cases where everything got really screwed up, and so it would end up at us as a last resort to fix it. And I worked on the swing shift, so I actually called the company that was to have the. I can't say exact names, but because that would be against the law. But I can't share the story. The fact that I got a hold of somebody there who worked through the tax problem with me, was an older gentleman, resolved everything, so I could send the case, send them a closure letter. Went to call them to let them know that the case was closed the next day, and actually got the son of the man who I had been talking to the night before, and his father had been dead for over a year and a half, and he said it doesn't surprise me at all. But his father actually had information that wouldn't have involved. And I asked my manager about it at the time, like, what I do, can I really close it? He's like, just close it and don't say anything else about it.
Nice.
What makes your near-death experience different from all the rest?
The fact that I should have died in
Right.
this life, just like I did as Edgar Allan Poe, but they gave me emergency doses of steroid, and that set me into a state of near death for almost 2 weeks. It was closer to 3 weeks, but 2 to 3 weeks between there before I came back out of it. And during that time, I recalled everything that I've been planning, everything down to, I discuss it more in my introduction to the books, which, by the way, anybody can read the introduction to my books for free. They just have to go to the Amazon Kindle versions online. There's a sneak preview of each book there. So to get the paranormal parts of my books, they don't have to buy them. They can actually just get those and read those introductions for free. And if that makes them curious enough about me to buy the books, they're all twisted tales. Now, I haven't really changed my MO. I still write stuff that's kind of extreme for the time that I write. And they can judge for themselves. But the main purpose I came back this time wasn't to try to get fame and fortune. Was actually to let people know that the first time I died of multiple sclerosis, and I guess tired of getting my name tarnished in my previous life. So it was the ego that got me to come back this time.
You are pledging 6% of your book royalties to MS charities, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And it's I've read a couple of them. I've been following up on you a little bit. I have to tell you, I've been reading up on you a little bit, Frank. And we started. Do you, Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you read all the links I sent you, Frank?
I did.
All right. What do they compare them to?
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, Stephen King, Edgar Allan Poe, and the Twilight Zone rolled into one.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a radio show host that touted you, that said that, right, first?
Correct. I also do a show. I've done radio shows on maintaining your health and stuff too because of the multiple sclerosis. It's interesting to lead in with the Edgar Allan Poe thing there too, and then I do warn people to always watch what you do in this life. I told my doctor when I first got this here because I realized after the steroids, I realized why I came back, and I actually told my doctor at the time, neurologist, that this was hereditary on my part. Not all types of MS were hereditary, but the kind I had was. And at the time, they didn't believe that MS could be hereditary. Any type of MS was hereditary. And I've had it for a while now, and over time, sure enough, they know that there are types that are hereditary. So once again, I proved something out that before ever,
What are the causes of MS?
They really don't know what the...
You don't know yet, right?
Yeah. They don't know?
There are all kinds of speculation. There's as many speculations as to what causes MS as to what caused me to die the first time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's been blamed on everything from rabies to drug overdose. Like I said, none of them were really flattering. So I came back to set the record straight, and hopefully more people will get the news about it, because right now I don't know how many people have actually heard that as a viable option, but it is. It's what calls it.
Well, best you can do is go on shows and talk about it.
Yeah,
Get
keep
the word
pushing
out.
it. Yep, getting the awareness out there. We can help them out. We can push this. We'll push it. We'll push the podcast.
Did you take your ALS bucket challenge?
I did. I took my
didn't
ALS
see it.
bucket challenge. I didn't post it. It's out there.
What do you mean you didn't post it?
Yep. Frank, have you seen all these ASL ice bucket challenge? ALS. I'm sorry, ALS ice bucket challenges going on. It's kind of gone viral. I was kind of thinking for him with MS. That'd be a good idea to get something like that going, Jeff. You should start something like that.
Bucket challenge?
Yeah. They have reached another $4 million in the past month.
Do you have a link?
Extra.
Do you have a link you could give us to for donations?
For the multiple sclerosis, I don't differentiate between the three. There's three major ones: the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation, the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, and then there's the Multiple Sclerosis Society. All three of those are good donations. I actually split that 6% up between 2% goes to each.
Okay,
that's good.
I was gonna ask if there's one you prefer, but that's, I guess, pick one, and that's the one we'll go for.
Okay. I think the MS Foundation is a really good one. It's based there in Florida.
All right.
A lot of people hear us now. We challenge you. We'll put it out there on video.
Okay.
Okay. We'll definitely try to raise some money for that, for the awareness. I think it's a great cause. I think it's great what you're doing.
Something different than a bucket of ice, though.
Okay.
I don't know.
We can get creative.
I have to think of something.
We get creative. We'll put a link on our website, too. All right, the Facebook page. Put it out there on that.
I don't know. We'll think of
That'll
something.
help you out. Try to get some,
You can't do the ice thing's already been done.
Yeah, the ice thing has been done to death. It's crazy.
You notice it's all, like, people that are from, like, around here, like Massachusetts and stuff, though?
Well, no, I mean, you have Obama, you have, no, it's more viral now. It's all over the country.
Yeah, but it just seems like all of my Facebook friends that I grew up with,
Well, you know why?
they were all doing it.
You know why? And this is where I did my part. Now, this was from, this started with Pete Frates. A couple of years back, they've been doing this. And I've been a DJ for longer than I want to admit. And in one of the first fundraisers, I worked down here with him and his family, his mother, his father, and him and Beverly. And I raised a couple $1,000 from that night. Yeah, that was my challenge. I'm going to try to do the ice bucket challenge. I don't want to ruin my hair.
Yeah, how come? How come you didn't put it on Facebook?
I've been busy.
Jeez.
I've been busy.
Now, too bad. When I used to be a volunteer football coach, and I had the bucket done to me once already, so it's not too fun. But too bad nobody had the video of it, or I wouldn't have to do it again.
Yeah, go look at my Facebook page. My video's on it. Mine's on there.
Yeah, Jeff Legere, Legere, from Salem. You might get another 2 friends now out of this. This is great.
Yeah.
No, you did good. You got more bags of ice than anybody I've seen.
That's because I didn't see anyone do it first.
Oh, so
and then I'm looking at all these people with these little buckets.
Everybody grabs a little bucket with 1 bag of ice, like 2 or 3 pound bag of ice. Jeff gets like 3 5-pound bags of ice. A huge bucket.
And then I'm watching other people, and I'm like, they got these little sand buckets full. I'm like, geez, I wish I knew that. I got like a big storage container full of ice and water.
Everybody needs ice to do the challenge.
Yeah. And I actually had to do it twice, because the first time I screwed it up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How could you mess that up?
I didn't like
You
the
know
way
the
it
video?
came out. Oh, yeah. So I did another one. I had to go get another guy's like, you used a lot of ice today. Guy at the convenience store. I'm like, just shut up and give it to me.
All right. Jeff, what do you have? You have another question?
No, I was thinking about the ice stuff.
All right. It's time to go over the ice stuff.
But actually, that's. I mean, you're speaking of charity right now, but that was one of the things after I recovered from the MS to a certain extent. I didn't want to be labeled disabled and thrown off to the side. That's one of the things I do when I do the health program. Is I talk to, if somebody's disabled, volunteer to do something. I became a volunteer. First, I volunteered as a track coach and taught shot put and discus.
Yep.
I actually had guys who went to state and won medals at state with that. And then I was asked to start coaching football too. I ended up being a freshman football coach, head football coach there. It was a program that just starting out. So I mean, the varsity was just starting out. Nobody expected them to win a game or varsity team that was there actually ended up winning half-inch games, and then the freshman team actually won one game. I only had 14 kids playing, so it was a real Ironman football.
Hey, you know what? I'd rather play on a team with 14 kids that you get to play for.
Yeah, coaching football is one of my favorite things. I'm glad you got to experience that. That's great. We have a lot of questions coming in. I have a question here.
Oh, we got people listening?
Oh, we do. We have people listening. And this question, I'm not sure where this came from, but...
Call in, people.
Yeah,
Pick
call
up the
in.
phone and call.
Give us a call. Go in the chat room, dtmwickedradio.com. Well, if they're listening, they're going to find out now here. They're going to go right in the chat room. And, the questions are pouring in right now. We have, actually, what was the movie based on? What are they talking to? Are they talking about the same person? Was the movie based on a story or real life?
Which movie?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Are they in the right?
We're talking about a book.
Yeah, no wonder we get so many questions coming in. We're on someone else's radio show's chat room.
Yeah, that's... I meant to say the book. It's in the chat room, the Edgar Allan Poe story. He said it right. He's listening to us.
Oh, okay.
Where'd you come up with the idea? Okay, now that makes more sense. They meant to say book, and not
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
I
book.
understand, all right?
It's all right.
It's been a long week, folks. It's early Friday night.
Maybe that's why they texted instead of calling.
So they're asking if the book was based on your story or a real life story.
I haven't actually seen a book that's really been a good representation of my life as Edgar Allan Poe yet.
Yeah.
Most of them end up making me out to be. I'm not going to say I wasn't crazy, wild and crazy when I was younger, and when I was in college, in West Point, I actually showed up one time at Parade Rest and buck naked. But that being said, everybody's a little bit wild and crazy when they're younger, I think. And but I did carry that on into my adulthood. Actually, when I said I quit drinking.
Yeah.
And people still thought I was drinking. I actually it was symptoms of EMS when they thought I was drunk, staggering and stuff sometimes. But even though they couldn't smell alcohol, it was because I had swelling on the brain, and that's what caused me to stagger and act like I was drunk. It was swelling on the brain, just like alcohol does. But that's why they couldn't smell any alcohol in my breath. There's been a lot of books and even movies about me, but none of them really portray the end the way it really happened.
Now, a lot of crazy people believe they were somebody famous. Why should we believe that you were Edgar Allan Poe, reincarnated?
Not that you're crazy.
No, I'm just saying. It's another question I'm reading.
Oh well, and actually, on the other side, it's, for lack of a better word, I'll just call it a hall of records. We share our experiences on the other side because that's our form of entertainment over here, to be honest. And just like on this side, people follow the people who are famous. On the other side, they're no different. People with interesting lives have a tendency to be looked into. We literally, on the other side, it's like a video camera that you can actually jump into and live the life of that person. And people have a hard time understanding that because we live an eternity on the other side. This is just a speck of time on this side, our lifetimes over here. So we much like people check out movies on this side or read a book on this side. On the other side, we jump into other people's lives that they've lived. And we can live that entire life from beginning to end, or we can actually jump out if we don't like it. Just like if you can turn off a movie that you don't want to watch any more of.
Wow.
And it's the form of entertainment. It's what we do for basically. I think the other side's kind of boring, to be honest. We're spiritual forms over there. I know you guys are probably familiar with orbs.
Yep.
Okay. The other side is basically millions and millions. I mean, uncountable number of orbs floating around together.
So I wonder if they see us like, in the other dimension, on the other side. Do they look at us like, oh my God, look, a ghost? Or do they try to communicate with us? That's crazy. That's a very interesting point.
Maybe we're the ghost.
We actually, I mean, there's a difference between ghosts and I call them spirits. Once I think you get to the other side, you get clarification about everything. So we're all kind of geniuses on the other side once we get there, because we do get clarification on things. When we come here, we're dumbfounded on purpose, so we can live our lives here and produce these basically these books of entertainment for the other side, for lack of a better word, or movies for the other side to enjoy when we're over there. Takes a lot of energy on that side to create this. I mean, this whole world and everything created. You know, it's basically been thought into existence. It's not. I don't know if you know anything about quantum physics, but they're pretty close actually with that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I was thinking back to the orbs. I mean, the orbs, a lot of times in our experiences, orbs are dust or moisture, or we never really, there may be that one.
That one I saw at Danvers State go past me.
Well, yeah, we saw that with our own eyes.
In the arm.
Without, yeah.
That was like...
Yeah. And we had somebody watch us react to it.
I've seen maybe 4 real orbs in my life, and that was definitely one of them. I just saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
It went right past me, this little red dot just kind of, going like back and forth, and then it hit you in the elbow, and you did it, and you looked at your elbow.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's one of the true orbs that I've actually seen.
But Frank, can you prove that you were Edgar Allan Poe in a past life? Do you have any...
The reason I was getting to the point about jumping into other people's lives is because on the other side, they can jump into a famous person. The difference between me and as I remember being on the other side planning this trip this time, I actually picked a family that had the same name, the different names in the family to jar my memory, and then I actually put the near-death experience into this trip. We actually plan these journeys over here. Some people plan them a little more detailed than others. And the next question that most people usually ask is, why is there so much misery and suffering on this side? People actually put that stuff in. They're planned to come here. They actually put the kind of suffering in because on the other side there is no suffering at all.
Contrast. We need contrast.
Right. In order to experience it.
Yeah. You were just like good if you didn't see the bad.
I have a Twitter question.
Okay.
Did you meet Elvis on the other side? No, it's terrible. So, my listeners.
I tell there are a lot of people that probably get their lives checked out a lot more, and Elvis is probably one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not dead yet, but I'm going to be checking out Hugh Hefner's.
That's right. I don't think he's dead either. I think he's living in Colorado or something.
Well, yeah, it's funny that people always see Elvis. It's it's a claim you hear all the time. People, listen to what I got to tell you. Listen, Elvis left the building. Right? He's gone. He's not real.
That's right.
He's not around. Although he had such an energy and such. Such
started
drive.
rock and roll.
He's got to be doing something right now.
He started rock and roll pretty much.
Yep. Shaking them hips.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I believe there's actually people who've checked out My Life as Edgar Allan Poe.
Very interesting.
Wait, did you change your name to Poe, or was that your name all along?
I picked a family that is on the family tree.
Oh, okay. So when you were still
in between lives, he had planned to come back as Poe.
You'd like my numerology.
As a Poe guy.
I do numerology readings on people. You'd like that because it tells you exactly who you chose to be when you came into this life.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you actually pick who you want to be.
Yeah, I'd like to do that on you. See what it says.
And as I mentioned in the book, people come here we come here in groups too. We don't just come by ourselves. There's going to be people that you meet in your life that you feel comfortable with automatically. It's because you're close to them on the other side also. You'll find out there's people over here that know things they shouldn't possibly know on this side.
Right.
It's because they've done that in a past life, and when they come back this time, they remembered it. It's a recall that they don't exactly know why they know it. They just do. I know a guy who can fix any kind of engine and was never taught anything about fixing engines. You know, it's because
It's just natural. It's
Edgar Allan Poe was mechanically inclined.
no, he's saying people can come back.
Oh,
I don't know how they can do it.
So, okay, I got you now.
That happens
I
to me
still
watching.
reading these questions.
That happens to me watching Jeopardy. I walk by and they ask a question and I know the answer and I have no idea how I know it. Do you ever do that?
Deja vu.
I
I love that show.
I like the dust orbs. So dust orbs are spirits. Orbs. The spirits are actually orbs. On the other side, we all look like clear bubbles.
Yeah, I see. That's what the question is.
It's a little bit of a light, and heaven is actually a dark place. There's a warm glow that comes from the bubbles, but that's.
Do you see your face in it?
Do you see a face inside the bubble?
It's our consciousness. We're all conscious on the other side. It's basically what you think. If you close your eyes right now and you just think in your mind, that's basically what it's like on the other side. It's when we think of it. That's why we jump into different people's lives for fun. We actually, this isn't the only planet that there's life on either. That's why I say in the book, I talk about the Scientologists are right in the fact that there are other aliens out there, and we can jump into their lives too when we're on the other side. So
Right.
it's not anything. And yeah, there's a lot of people think that all this is crazy, but it doesn't. It's just like I had a radio talk show host once who was an atheist who thought he had me. He was like, well, I'm an atheist. And
Right.
it doesn't matter if you're an atheist. When you die, you're going to go to the other side anyway. If you're not confused.
I always wondered that.
How
Where
can
do
you
you
be
go?
an atheist and believe in nothing?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I
No,
don't
it's more like
understand
they're just dead set against it.
And you know, I've had the same question about suicide before. People there's religious groups that don't believe that if you commit suicide, you'll go to the other side. Everybody goes to the other side. It's not.
Yeah.
You might the only danger you have is there's ghosts on this side,
Right.
and they are real. But they're just confused still, and they haven't crossed over.
Exactly.
And they stay in that confusion. I ask
There's
anybody.
just a different dimension too, but
Yeah.
that's all.
They're not all
right.
confused. Some
No,
of them
some choose to stay.
Yeah, some are.
Some of them choose to say, and some of them are actually. I get they're kind of mad and angry.
Yeah.
But when I try to tell people, I ask anybody who's a true ghost hunter or they're interested in that type of thing, we should all be interested in helping those ghosts get back over to the spirit world more than anything else.
Sure, we cross them over.
We do that as we find
Yeah,
as we find the EVPs that ask for help or
I just crossed the 4 over it that were at my house.
yeah.
You
So
know,
another question.
It was like a. Did I tell you that story of how I crossed them over?
No, who'd you cross over? Where?
The 4 ghosts that were at my house.
Not in another one of these famous places where everybody goes to
No,
do ghost
at-
investigations. 'Cause
at my house,
they
you
tend
know
to get
that-
mad at you when you move them on.
You know the 4 that were there?
Yeah.
Well, remember that the psychic we had on there? He says they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you because they know you can help them.
Yeah, that guy was pretty
So
good.
that
yeah.
Sunday night, I was going to bed. I was like, I brushed my teeth, and I'm like, all right, you know what? It's like, let's do it. Let's all 4 of them were around me. I felt like this really big chill, like I was surrounded.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's go. We walked across, the little pathway I got over to the bedroom, and I says, you know what? I'm gonna miss you guys. I had a good time with you, and it felt like the happiest time in that room. It's like they were all psyched. So one by one, I just passed them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They just all went right away. Wow. That was it. It just like it felt so good. But now it's like since they're gone, I'm kind of pissed off. I think I got some new ones in there. They're not so nice.
Well, how do you think they feel? You kicked them out.
No, they wanted to go and they were psyched to go.
Right.
So it just.
So you have to
felt
move
good.
along. That's good.
Yeah. It was a good feeling.
That is good. And you can feel the lightness. You can feel.
Yeah.
You have somebody just asked if you met Jesus, if you met God. No, you haven't seen God up there in between lives.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, and then another one. So your quantum leap is like keep on leaping from life to life till you get it right. I know they say it in jest, but it kind of makes sense.
Here's one. Who shot JFK?
Yeah, who shot JFK?
Everybody on the other side hasn't came to hear something. Some of them never have come. They don't have any desire to come here. It's
Right.
They come on the other side because there's no pain, there's no hunger, and we're conscious on the other side the same way we're conscious here. Just some people think that is a little boring. So we've created whole worlds and everything. The Creator exists in all of us. And it's not. You say, what's Jesus like? The Creator exists in everybody. It's not just something that the Muslims have, or the Christians have, or the Buddhists have. It exists for everybody.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to anybody? There's a little piece of the Creator in every one of us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I believe.
God, Jesus said,
Amen.
"Don't do as I do, be as I am," meaning that we're all the same connected source that he was at.
Don't do as I do, but do as I say.
Don't do as I do, do as
I
am.
Be as I am? Okay.
Yeah, write that on your
Don't
business
do as
card.
I do. Yeah. Be as I am.
Is Star Trek popular on the other side? Yeah, just like everything else, it's entertaining. I've told this when I talk on poetry shows and stuff. Like, I've actually written whole poems in my mind that I've never put down on paper because I know that on the other side they'll be able to enjoy them. So yeah, they can check out Star Trek. Anybody's life that they jump into is a Star Trek fan. They can enjoy it if they want to go to cosplay and do that. They find the best player they have.
Yeah. Frank, let's go back to your near-death experience for a second. I'm just kind of curious. I know, like, scientists have their own belief in these experiences. But how do you know your mind wasn't just coping with, with death? Generally, well, of course, not generally, always, the brain will go last, right? And it's like, and then it's like the bright light, and then you're gone. That's what the scientists believe. How do you know that you weren't just experiencing that?
Well, I would hope that the stories that I've written have proved that I am who I say I am. I've actually had an independent psychic that I didn't even solicit come forward and tell me who I was in a past life, Edgar Allan Poe. That's Amelia Druid is what she goes by. I can't definitely tell anybody that you can either believe me or not. I don't ask you that you have to believe me. But I put enough things to jar my memory in, and one of the things that I did when I planned this life was I had a previous life prior to this, we usually don't go to the other side and jump back into this life into this side that fast. It's usually a slower process. We usually take some time over there before we come back. I actually came back almost immediately from my last life. I died in the Vietnam War.
He's kind of fucked up. Your dog.
Yeah, they're sorry. The dog is just,
his dog is like
humping his leg.
Yeah,
sorry, he's out of the spirit.
What the hell is he doing?
It's Jeff. I forgot the mic was on.
I'm sorry. I was like, is that the spirit talking? We got a spirit in this house too.
I think we're going to be fired after that one.
Dog is like mental.
I have a little Australian Shepherd, and he really likes Jeff tonight.
He's crazy.
He's not barking though, so he's quiet. Nobody can see him.
I should just put myself in a happy place and take it.
Yeah, he's my ghost hunting puppy. Anyway, let's go back to the questions. How are you different than a medium or a psychic?
I'm starting to get a little echo, so I'm trying to turn this down a little bit if I can. One of the things I did when I planned this was I had a grandfather who had the same name that I had when I died in my previous life just before this. And I almost came back instantly from where I died in Vietnam to this life. And that I didn't, when I was in that period of 2.5 weeks or so, where I was in almost a comatose state, I recalled that, and when I later on recovered, I actually went back and researched to see if I was crazy or myself, because I had to prove it to myself first before I didn't really want to come forward with any of this. And sure enough, I did find the person, the date of death, everything is exactly the way I remember it. So I don't believe I'm crazy, but anybody else they're willing to think that if they want. But I ask, read my books and see if you believe I am who I say I am. Other than that, I really can't do much more than that as far as convincing. There's no way anybody could possibly go beyond that to convince. And if I was going to pick somebody, honestly, if I was going to claim I was somebody in a past life, I would probably pick somebody cooler, like I said, like a Jim Morrison or something.
Yeah,
That's
there you
awesome.
go.
Yeah.
Lived like 2 years of his life. That's about all I would be able to
That
take.
dog on.
Like I said, I'm going to be checking out Hugh Hefner's. Yeah, so.
What does it feel like to pass away and cross over to the other side?
That's instantaneous, actually.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of the deaths from previous lives. Now, from where I came back, the deaths are kind of traumatic, and that's what kind of makes you remember it. But once you actually cross over, it's fairly peaceful. As long as you cross over and you actually go.
Yeah. I bet you birth is more traumatic than death.
Yeah, and that's where they confound
They slap you. Yeah, I mean, think of that. You come out of this, you're being built inside of a human, and then you come squirting out into the world. You know,
Squirting out.
at least death, you see it. Most people see it coming, and they can kind of accept it. But birth, you have no choice. You just boom, you're out.
Bam.
You're like, all right, time to start a new life for you.
It is. It's violent.
I definitely believe that we've all lived many, many lives.
Yeah, but there are, like I said in the book, there's some that have never came over. There's some that have come over for the first time.
Yeah.
They like people like you. People say old spirit, young spirit.
Yeah.
That's very true, because some come first time, some have been here many times, and you can just about tell if you're an old spirit yourself. You can just about tell other people who are old spirits. Even if they're 2 years old, 3 years old, you can tell. It's just, I can recognize an older spirit when I meet them, even if they're a 5-year-old.
So people that first come here, they call it star seeds, right? No, star seeds. That's what they call them. That's their first time on this earth. And I also, where have I read that? I don't know, I probably told you.
Okay.
And then I also heard that a lot of spirits don't want to come here because this is like kind of
Crazy.
well, it's kind of like the boot camp of the universe, you know? You come here and
Learn life's lessons.
yeah, life is hard on the earth sometimes, and it's there's a lot of other places you can go that are a lot more peaceful. And I heard a lot of like spirits decide not to come here again. Is that true?
Well, I like to say the golden rules practiced throughout the universe. It's not just something here. It's practiced in every religion here. But I hate to say this, but we're not. It's not all about peace. I've actually two of the times that I came back has been because I was actually a soldier.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like people like to watch, some people like to watch war movies, some people like to watch science fiction. Some people, that's the whole purpose they come here, is for the violence.
Yeah, when you drive...
I hate to say that, because I know that people are going to take that.
It's true. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, that you need contrast to see the good. It's like when you drive by a accident on the highway, everybody looks. You know?
Yeah, you're rubbernecking.
Yeah,
Right. Yep.
Yeah, you can't get by without looking at it,
Right.
because it's just part of who we are, and
Human nature.
that gives us contrast, and and then you could also use that to your advantage and say, wow, look at, I'm in my car happy, listening to my radio, that poor guy, he's at the other end of contrast right now. You know, because you need to see the dark to see the light. Everything in the whole universe is half and half. You know, there's like a half bad. I mean, every single thing in the universe is like that.
Exactly. If you think about the other side, the eternity we spend over there, the fact that we don't have the pain, we don't have the hunger, there's nothing really bad over there. So that's heaven to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You gotta remember, we created everything, so it's, you know, your concept of good and bad, everything came from the same well of thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's like, you know, whatever vibrations you're putting out, I mean, if you're putting out vibrations where you're thinking, oh, I'm going to see bad, the bad's coming, and that's exactly what you're getting, you're going to be seeing the bad, you know? Or you can...
I referred to quantum physics earlier, because the quantums in the quantum physics, they actually do as we think about. It's hard to, I mean, I don't know if you know enough about quantum physics to know that, but actually, if you expect them to do something, they do it.
Yeah. No, that's all about quantum physics.
That's all of creation.
Last week we
Yes. I'm actually a certified law of attraction practitioner. So that's kind of it's kind of the same basis as quantum physics. Quantum physics is more science,
right?
And I'd say law of attraction is more spiritual, but they basically say the same thing, that your thoughts are vibrations, and what you put out there,
you get back.
Yeah.
It comes back at you.
Yeah, because I mean, what you're putting out there, I mean, you could actually change your whole life by just catching your thoughts. All you got to do is catch your thoughts during the day. When your mind starts running crazy, you catch your thoughts, and you say, these aren't the thoughts I want to be thinking now, and you just, if you have to, you can imagine something for a while, and just to change your vibration.
Well, again, that's where meditation comes in, or something like a moment.
Or just, I mean, a simple thing within 7 days.
Breathe, people.
Within 7 days, if you consciously would make an effort to watch your thoughts, your life would change. I'm telling you, because
it's true. It's true. I mean, I know there's been guys right.
Hello? We'll be back after this break.
Hi, Frank.
You there, Frank?
Would you
I think he's having a technical problem, guys. Hold on one second. I'll see if I can bring it back in.
Technical difficulties.
Do you want to cut to a commercial, or you want to keep on going, or what?
Yeah, we'll keep going. It's one of those kind of nights.
Yeah, we'll just keep.
How you doing, Denny?
I'm fine. How are you guys doing?
Good. Folks, I saw that nice, your wife telling you how much she loves you
she
on
loves
Facebook.
you. Denny's getting lucky tonight. Let's hear it for Denny.
Yeah. Denny's having a night.
Yeah, right.
Is that what happened to our guest?
Oh,
Off doing other stuff?
Jeff is all alone.
Show?
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
No, I got my boys at the house.
Yeah, Frank, you back?
No, not yet, guys. He's still working, I believe.
Good, maybe he went to another
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say maybe he's
Moved on.
making a trip to the
They didn't
universe.
finish yet.
He's an orb right now.
Hey, what's the number for people to call in and talk to us?
Sure, it's hold on one second here. I'm actually having a little problem with Skype myself.
But we are doing good down here, downtown Salem.
Yeah, we're Skyping away like nobody's business.
Skype in. Time for some more iced coffee, though. Yeah. Yep. What'd you do all week?
What did I do all week? Oh, I am creating. There's a good time to pitch myself.
All right, Vince.
I am
Make it quick.
creating a new product to put on my website, angelsguide.org, along with the other product. It is going to be about releasing false beliefs. And it's in the works now. I'm going to actually make some, I might even make some videos for it, some MP3s that go with it. And
Cool.
Yeah, so probably end of September it'll be all up. But I'm just kind of writing it right now. I'm inspired. I've been just writing and writing.
Wow. Oh, that was a Salem High School education.
Oh, my education means nothing.
Well, back then, if you just showed up, you
I graduated from high school senior year because I had the same math teacher for 4 years, and she liked me, and she gave me an extra day that I was there.
Yeah.
So goes, all right, you had enough days in attendance, you can pass.
That's it. If you showed up, you pass. Guys, if you want to call in and talk to us tonight, 607-441-6233. 607-441-6233.
While you're waiting, check out angelsguide.org.
And the first 10 callers will be eligible to take part in our lottery for $100 million.
Yes, payable to, but never mind.
Yeah,
I don't want to get
payable in pennies over every year.
Yeah, payable over 2 lifetimes.
Every year you get 2 cents.
Yep. Guys, speaking of that now,
Compound interest,
since
though.
we have a couple of minutes, this is the season to book your own personal tour down here in downtown Salem, Massachusetts.
What a deal.
And it is a good deal.
It is. It's the best
But
tour
I'm
in
looking for
town.
like 6 people or more. Just
You
check
could
out
tag whatever.
shityghost.com, and I'll take you on a tour downtown Salem, Mass, with the thermal cameras, all the good stuff, and I'll give you a real ghost tour.
It is. It's
And
awesome.
right now, before it's really crazy, it's a good time to come down. Even busloads. I
You know
love
what?
busloads of people.
You know what it is on your tour? It's basically they're going on an investigation.
They are. I'm teaching
And a
them how
lot
to.
of people
yeah.
want to go on an investigation. How many people ask you, "Oh, can I
Right.
go
Can
with
I
you?"
go? Yeah. How can I
Can I
get
get in
started?
then?
That's a good way to get
Yeah.
started. We
Yeah.
do EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. We record voices. And look at how many things. Check out my Facebook page or witchcityghost.com and look at all the pictures and the audio stuff we've got.
Yeah, and
We've done a lot of good stuff.
And you do thermals with them.
It's great. Yeah,
You
a
know,
lot of good thermal.
Salem's an awesome place for thermal.
A lot of energy in here. Downtown Salem.
Yeah, there's a lot of shadows and all kinds of crazy things. Witches. Would you guys give me back?
All right, now, Frank Poe. Where'd you go?
For some reason.
See this? We thought you just went on like another quantum leap. Are you back with us?
Yeah.
Frank, where can you find your books? Let them know where to find your book.
They can just, I just tell people to go online and type in Star Child and 13 More Twisted Tales and Raven Wings and 13 More Twisted Tales.
Okay.
And they can purchase it just about anywhere. Some people have Kindles, some people have Nooks. Some people just buy it for their computer and read it nowadays. Or they can go get a hardbound version or a soft cover if they want. So I leave that up to them.
I like the
Should
book.
have looked at the bookstore, they can order it for them too.
Yeah, I like reading a book.
I like
too.
to hold the book, and that's always a good way to do it for me. I guess I'm old school though.
Yeah, well, a book, yeah, I don't know. Me too. I like holding a book. I don't know. That's just kind of my thing.
I play too. I have a lot of books.
Folks, you want to call in and talk to Frank Poe, 607-441-6233. One more time is 607-441-6233. He'll take questions, or as well as Jeff and I, or just you can ask questions as long as you're nice. Let's be nice.
Well, if you're not nice, we'll still, whatever.
Have you seen Jesus? Come on, stuff like that.
Well,
But we love those listeners.
that's a good question, actually. I mean, even if he was joking, can you distinguish like different orbs, who they were?
You can. When we're on the other side, we can. Yeah.
No, it's just like everyone's the same orb.
No, we're all individuals over there. We actually don't all get along on the other side either. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
There are
basically,
people like they're orbs. They're I don't call them orbs on the other side. There's spirits on the other side that you'll like, and there's just people, just like people that people you don't like. There's spirits you don't like either.
So,
pop their bubble.
but that's a lot of what we think in it. Pop there, Bob. Pop the bubble.
Yeah, pop their orb bubble.
It's like a twack.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like that. But, people, I believe, I know this. I mean, I don't know this. Common sense will tell you that people are the same afterlife? Are their energies the same afterlife as they were in life?
Oh yeah, the asshole in life or an asshole in death.
I'm trying to be nice about me. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Same thing, right? Nice.
After the F word earlier, I can say asshole.
Yeah, that dog. Since then, my dog Bandit has been banned from the studio.
Yeah, he should be.
He should be.
On your Facebook pictures, he looks cute, but
Oh, he's cute, but he's like a devil.
yeah, I won't even sleep tonight thinking of him.
Diablo. He's funny though. He's a good ghost hunting dog now.
Yeah, he is. At my house, he was awesome.
Yeah, he barks every time we get like a EMF spike or an EVP.
Yeah.
Or something on the ghost box.
Paul was
excellent.
saying upstairs he was really quiet. I think they were like kind of freaking him out up there because he kept standing by me and near me in the window.
Yeah, so he was
He
overwhelmed.
was really quiet up there.
So this is a haunted mansion we did near downtown Salem
No, it's my
a couple
house.
months ago. Well, it's right there. It's right. It's on the same property.
Okay.
I didn't want to tell people where you live, Jeff.
Why not?
Now they know.
Start having people come over
So
to
put
do
your
it
phone
anyway.
number out there too.
It's on my Facebook page.
Your phone number?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Jeff needs more friends. Jeffrey
I don't
Legere.
need more
Legere. He needs more friends on Facebook.
No, I'm over 1,000.
My mother said to help him out.
I'm over 1,100.
1,100. Yeah, doing good.
Yeah, and that's just because I saw you getting a lot, so I'm like, I'm gonna get a lot too.
Yeah, but every time I see Jeff has like new Facebook friends, they're all like hot chicks.
Well, why are you looking at him? Because you want to friend him. You're like, oh, look, this is your friend Jeff.
So every time I get something,
It's just friend requests.
yeah, it's funny. You
Yeah.
you get stuff like people you might know, and then
You always see my
you see
face
this
there.
pretty girl, she's like scantily clad or whatever. I don't know, and so then I look on her friends, and Jeff's the first smiling face I see on the friend page.
So,
Crazy. Frank,
friend
you
the guy.
We have to friend Frank. Frank, you're on Facebook, right?
Friend and friend.
Yes, I am. I actually have my face on Conan the Barbarian's body. So.
All right, cool.
Well, it's
Frank,
like half of these girls. They have like this, this hot, beautiful. Or a lot of them, you're in trouble when the profile picture or the cover pictures are these real eccentric cartoon chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Or the bit strip photos. It doesn't quite show the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's
But,
true.
yeah.
Always makes you look better.
So you're on the Frank Poe, Frank?
Frank G. Poe, yeah.
Frank, okay. We're gonna get you more Facebook friends.
Do you have ravens around your house?
Yes, I actually do.
That's funny.
They're not even they're not even supposed to be in this area, but I actually have. There's like 3 of them that hang around this place.
That's funny. So yeah, they're probably just fitting the image.
They're, yeah.
They're your animal totem,
Well, he
probably.
did the birds, right? Who wrote the book The Birds?
Edgar Allan Poe. Whenever I thinking of him, I always think of ravens.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I just got that connection.
Why?
That's-
Yeah, why do we think of ravens? I don't really know much about Edgar Allan Poe.
The poem Raven, the Raven.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, we went to Salem High. We don't read that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
again, so you show up, you pass. All right, we got that.
Wow, how stupid are we?
What do you say to? I have another question. What do you say to all the Christians who don't believe in reincarnation?
Uh-oh.
Well, it's actually in the Bible.
That's a question.
Yeah, it's actually in the Bible. So tell them to look up Matthew 11:13, 14.
Oh, that's interesting. I remember reading that about reincarnation. What does it say, like in a nutshell? What's it?
It's basically we're all source, and when we die, this is just like our time on this earth. And when we die, we just become source again, and we choose.
I'm
if we're
convinced
gonna
it's a
come back or
lesson.
not.
It's a lesson. It's like we've said.
It is a lesson. We're here.
It's a
We're
lesson.
here at this time right now for expansion. Everyone thinks we're here to.
So
have
once
our purpose.
once we complete all of our lessons, what happens?
You can stay up there and be a bubble.
And
Or
you
you
can
can
be
come
a
back
bubble
here, or you can go to another
and you can do
earth.
whatever you want.
But I
Well,
mean,
specifically, that passage deals with John the Baptist, and Christ actually says that he is Elijah reincarnated. So, I mean, unless they want to say that Jesus was a liar, the Christians.
Jesus wasn't a liar.
No way.
That's right. Oh, no. That's the red letter right there saying
I know.
Right.
there is reincarnation. It's in the Bible. So
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's basically, all religions talk about the same thing. But it's just.
I know they all
put a
mention
different
spirits. They all mention spirit in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know about reincarnation though. I just
I bet if you look through, they all have something about it.
they might, yeah.
It's like just religion just spread out and took its own meaning, from different parts of the world and kind of meshed together. You know what I mean? But I mean, they all pretty much.
even Satan worshippers have a version of the Golden Rule. In fact, a lot of their principles, the Church of Satan, a lot of their principles are based on the Golden Rule. Do unto others. Theirs is a little bit more twisted than that, but
Yeah.
it's like if somebody offends you, you mess them up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's like if they do something to you, you do it right back. If it's bad, you do something bad to them. If they offend you, you defend them back.
That actually brings up a good question, Frank. What do you believe in hell, or do we all just go back up to where you go with it?
Hell is basically what we're in now. It's being away from the heaven that is no pain, no hunger, no.
Yeah.
We're all right in a way that there is a hell. If we come here and we want to make it hell, we can.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
wouldn't you consider this like, not hell, but it's kind of a learning experience?
not heaven,
It's like
right.
we're kind of like,
It's like boot camp. It
yeah,
really
it's like
is.
we're going
Like
to
training.
boot camp for a while, and then we go back to being source for a while, or, and it's like,
It's all about spiritual. I mean, it's our spiritual growth.
Yeah. It's expansion. Without expansion, the universe wouldn't exist.
Yeah. And I mean, literally everything has been thought into existence to begin with. So.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a little deeper than a lot of people can conceive. Everything is our creation. It comes from our thought.
People, whether you're experiencing good or bad, it's like that's what you're thinking about. So you're just expanding who you are on this lifetime. Because you're always the same source, whether you're dead or alive. And then you just choose another life, and you say, well, I'll do things a little differently maybe this time.
But each time you start over, do you start like over?
No, you still have some of your some of your lessons learned
You go
from
through the same
past
stuff that
lives.
you went through the childhood, and you know what I mean? It's just
No, like see,
Like I said, when we get to the other side, we're all geniuses because you basically everything you've ever done throughout eternity is back to you when you get to the other side.
yeah.
What we can't conceive of the stuff that we can conceive on the other side.
Yeah, because
Really opposite.
some of us have lived 1,000 lives, wouldn't you say?
Easily.
Yeah. So, you get all that.
Not all here on this planet either. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I talk a little bit about in the book. I said, it's not all fun and games on the other side. We do have to work on the other side. And I never did go into detail about the work on the other side, but the work on the other side is basically we will things into existence. We have to actually concentrate to do that. It's hard to create a world from nothing. We're worker bees.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, cool. Frank Poe, thank you so much. Once again, tell our listeners where they can find your book and how they can get in touch with you.
They just have to do a search on the internet, in Google, Raven Wings and 13 More Twisted Tales, or Star Child and 13 More Twisted Tales. They can buy it anywhere they want to, so I'm not going to put any certain format. I make more money off of ebook than I do.
So,
Back book, but
switch
Oh,
to
let's
ebook
do
then.
the ebook. Yeah, ebook's way easier at the beach and everything. It's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
ebook's the way to go. Well,
Ebook,
what were you just
people.
saying earlier? You like holding a book?
I like holding books myself.
I do too, but ebook's the way to go.
Yeah.
Old fashioned.
I do both.
Frank Poe, thank you so much for the show.
You can show people hardbounds are really nice too.
Yeah,
When I donate to the library, when I donate a copy to the library, I give them a hardbound.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jeff likes to hold that hard copy in his hand.
Ah, so it's good holding a book.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Denny, it's Clay Smith.
Oh, hello, Mr. Smith. How are you?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good. Hey, give me just 1 second. I'm going to patch Mark back in. He had a little technical difficulty.
No problem.
Sorry about that. Mark? Oh.
Hi.
Hey, Mark.
All right.
Are we back?
Mark, your next guest is here. We lost. I don't know what happened to Mr. Pohl. He got cut off.
All right, we're gonna go. Is Peter Lavasco here yet?
No, sir. But let me just check with him. I'll see where he's at.
Yeah, please. And he's gonna come in and do his 5-minute thing, and then we will go to Clay Smith.
Yeah, Mr. Smith's right here.
Hi, Clay. How are you?
Good, Mark. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, thanks. I am gonna just take a quick minute, like 2-minute break. I'll be right back to you. Okay? They're taking like probably a 3-minute commercial here.
I'll be right here.
Thank you, sir. Kind of a bizarre. to bring in our wicked weather guy, Pete Lavasco. Hello, Peter. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, Mark and Jeff?
We're doing great. We're doing awesome. We're doing awesome. We are excited to hear about
What's going down there in Salem?
Yeah, a little cloudy and chilly today.
a little cloudy and chilly up here in the studio.
What's up, Pete? Summer gone?
No, not
Yeah,
yet.
I think something's going, guys. I think we're going to go right into fall, although maybe one or two chances for maybe some extreme heat, late August and the first part of September. We're watching the models and seeing how the patterns
This
with that.
this summer went way too fast.
That's bad. That's it. I quit. I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm just going to bed.
Well, there's a lot of people that are really, depressed about this weather. But, I don't feel too bad about it. We're in the 70s, low 80s. Today we're in the 60s, low 70s, overcast. There's some sunny breaks. But you got to like the less the humidity, the nice clean air night. You have your windows open. You don't have to turn your ACs on. And you can still get a decent beach stay out of it. And you still get a nice tan. But the lawn temperatures are still warm. They're in the low 70s. So it's not too bad. Yeah, I would all like some heat. I agree.
Well, you know what, Pete? The weather's one thing you can't worry about. You just, whatever it is, it is. It's you can't let it get you down. This winter, it sucked. I freaking worked outside all winter. 12 degrees at noontime wasn't fun.
I'm having my guest Anthony Siciliano on again tomorrow night. One of my buddies down in West Bridgewater. We do some analogs and past storms, and we're going to reference winters to the upcoming winter and the past winters, probably all the way back to 1999. But right now, I can't put out my prediction yet. I'll be putting that out tomorrow night. But I will say this: it is going to be above normal snowfall season once again for our area.
Awesome.
That's good.
That's all I can give you as a hint for now. You'll tune in at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on Wicked Weather to hear the rest.
All right, Pete Lavasco, thank you so much for calling in.
We might have to cancel. He didn't even give the weather yet.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, guys, I just want to say, can I say one more thing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
We got our Labor Day weekend coming up in 2 weeks. I just want the folks to know out there that the pattern's changing. We're going to have a Rex block setting up in a ridge in the Midwest, and what that's going to do is it's going to have a southwest flow up the Atlantic seaboard. So if we get any tropical systems that get past 65, 70 west, longitude, latitude, we need to really keep our eyes on it because we're very vulnerable, guys, right now until early October. And I do have a bad feeling about the next couple of weeks. So, watch what's going on out in the Atlantic. And there's something out there now. We're going to keep an eye on that just so everybody knows. Around between the 27th of August, probably through the 14th of September is the time to really watch.
Nice. You're full of good news tonight, Pete.
Oh, boy.
Hey, guys, have a great night tonight. You have a great show. I hope everybody listens, tunes in. Everything Paranormal. You guys have an awesome night up there in Salem.
Thank you, Pete. You have a good night, Monster.
Thank you so much for calling in, Peter.
All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys next Friday. All right.
See ya.
All right, see you later. Guys, check him out on DTMWickedRadio.com. He is Wicked Weather, Peter Lavasco.
He's probably the most interesting weather guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Hey, keeps it. I can see how he can.
He's
keep
going to
the
be
show
big and
going.
famous. And someday we're going to say, remember when?
Yeah.
All right, folks, our next guest is an author of All You Know Is What You Think You Know. Welcome to the show, Mr. Clay Smith. Hi, Clay.
Hey, Clay, how you doing?
Good, gentlemen. How you all doing tonight?
Good, good.
Oh, we're doing great. Hey, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and where they can follow you and where you can be found.
Sure. You can find me at our website, which is spiritwatch.net. I've been doing paranormal investigations for about 10 years now. Wrote the book, released that last fall. It's called All You Know Is What You Think You Know. It's one person journey to the spirit world so far, excuse me. And I wrote the book to cover 3 different categories of people who are involved or watch the paranormal: the people who don't believe, the people who are investigators and maybe give them a different outlook on things they do, and what I call the true believers who believe that everything that goes bump in the night is a ghost or a demon. So it's kind of, there's enough in there to piss everybody off.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, there's sometimes it's just the noise in your house, you know, like it was hot out and your rafters
Right.
are cooling down and they're cracking, you know.
But his team seems really good, professional, where they go out, they were open-minded, way open-minded,
Yeah.
but they debunk things, disprove things.
There is spirits everywhere. I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of years of spirits, so I mean, they are everywhere,
are.
but
Right.
there are definitely sounds out there that aren't, you know. I mean, a lot
Right.
of times a spirit in a house isn't even the one you're trying to look for.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with you know, the TV shows where everything is shown
Yeah.
to be a demon or evil. And I'll give you one case. A lady called me and she's scared to death. Her little girl kept hearing this sound coming out of her closet, and scared to death. And she says, "I know it's demon. I know it's the devil coming through to try to get me." So, you know, I kind of did a preliminary check, make sure she wasn't too crazy. Did some background stuff on her, and went over to her house and said, "Okay, well, I'll sit here one night and we'll see what happens." And all it was the commode leaking a little bit, and every once in a while I'd give a hissing sound. And all it did was fix the commode, and that took care of it.
There's your demon.
There's your demon. But there are some. Go ahead.
Do you find in a lot of houses too, like there's real high EMFs, and you know, and that causes some people to hallucinate a little bit?
I haven't run that personally. To be honest with you, I've gotten away from a lot of the gadgets. I basically use a recorder and camera, which if I don't hear it voice-wise, or if I don't capture it visually, either video or still camera, because there are too many things that can interfere with their EMF. I mean, the Earth itself puts off EMF. The human body puts off EMF.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like if there's like faulty like there's some people. You know, we've been to places where they have this big power source right there.
Yeah,
And-
smack like
under
near their pillow or something, you know, in the basement with their pillow. Yeah,
Yeah.
things like that, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I agree with you that when I go on an investigation, I kind of like the sensation of the feeling more than getting evidence of it.
Well, he's more of our spiritual guy.
Yeah.
I'm more of the techie guy.
Well, I try to blend the two.
Yeah.
The
That's
problem
what
I have
to us.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
the problem I have with you know, with the gadgets, if you're constantly looking down at whatever you use, a K2 or a REM pod or whatever, then what else is going on around it that you're missing? You know, if you're focused on just that piece of equipment or those pieces of equipment, then you're not really focusing and taking in the feeling of the room, which a lot of times I think the one part of the genre that I really think is overlooked a lot are what are called thought forms. Most people are familiar with the term poltergeist, but it doesn't have to be just poltergeist. The energy we carry into an investigation can affect what goes on in a location as well, too. And that's what I try to tell people. If you're going on an investigation and you're in a bad mood, you've had an argument with a significant other or a bad day at work, I mean, stay home. Don't bring that energy in there, because a lot of these event locations that you go to, think of all the people, the hundreds or thousands of people who've been going to these places and what kind of energy they're leaving behind.
Oh yeah, they're leaving their stamp in there. That's why me and Mark always say, if you're pissed off and you had a tough time going to an investigation, don't go, because you're bringing something home with you.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, the other thing, too, is that there's a case that my wife and I just finished up on probably about 2 months ago now. It originally started 2 years ago. A gentleman contacted me. He works in federal law enforcement. He called me scared to death. The night before, he was held down in his bed. He actually had marks on his body where he was held down. He could not get up. It sounded like the linoleum was being torn up off the floor of his kitchen. There was pounding. The ceiling fan in his bedroom was swinging back and forth erratically, and he left the house and went over to his mother's that night. I mean, this is a guy who lifts weights, who works out. He's a law enforcement dude. So me and one of the fellows in the group went over, since it was kind of nasty when we left the ladies behind. We did some preliminary work, and it didn't come up. A couple of EVPs, but nothing we could do any ties to, and things kind of quieted down. And 2 years later, 2 months ago, he emails me. He says, I got remarried in April, and stuff's starting to happen again. So this time I just went over with my wife again, like I said, who's a medium, and I didn't tell her anything about the history of the previous investigation or the house. And we walked in, and we walked down the hallway, and the first thing my wife picked up on, she says, I either see a large black dog or a wolf. I'm picking that up as I walk through here. I said, okay. So, I've got a recorder running. We go back to one of the bedrooms where one of his girls stays, and she sits down, and the first thing she feels is pain in her 2 fingers of her right hand. And she says, I don't know what that means, but I just feel pain in the fingers of my right hand. I said, okay. Recorder's still going. Then she starts talking about how she picks up the name of Bobby. For some reason, the name Bobby came to her, and she's not really sure that what's going on has anything to do with anybody who's dead, but has to do with someone who's still living, and there's an act of revenge that could be going on. So, okay, we went through, we did a couple more rooms, came back, we met with a client. So I told him the details of what she had picked up and to see if anything would happen, or if it meant anything to him. And the first thing I said, well, she picked up on the pain of 2 fingers in her right hand. He immediately holds his hand up and says, yeah, about 3 weeks ago, I was at work, and one of the buddies just went around with a knife and hurt my fingers, and I'm still recovering from it. There's no bandage. You couldn't see a bandage or anything, but that tied into what she picked up. As far as the dog or the wolf, he said he bought the house as a foreclosure. The people before that had large black Labradors who stayed there. One of them actually got left locked in the house and died in the house, which validates what that was going on.
Yeah.
Then we said, well, she picked up on this name Bobby. Does that mean anything to you? And at first he didn't think about it. Then we're sitting there, and a few minutes later he says he was married before and had a stepson, and his stepson had molested his daughter in the home. The boy was 17. There was never any prosecution of the case. So there was a lot of energy, bad energy left behind in the house, not only from the act that happened, but I think also energy that this client was carrying, because there was no justice given because the fellow, he wasn't prosecuted. Yeah. So my wife went through, she did a blessing of the house, she did a clearing, and I checked with him in a week, and he says, everything's quiet, nothing's going on, it's all settled down, and to this day, he still hasn't had any problems. So the things that we hold on to can manifest themselves in negative ways, similar to what happened to him and what went on as well too. And coincidentally, we picked up an EVP which mentioned the word Bobby.
Nice.
So you get double validation there, and plus you educate people. I think that's a big thing we need to do when we're out there, is educate people about things that they could be, making happen themselves.
Great. Tell our listeners a little bit about your wife's background. I'm not sure that they all know.
Well, she was raised Pentecostal. Okay, she just came out with a new book. It's called Confessions of a Born-Again Christian Turned Psychic Medium, which tells about her story of her transition to where she is now. When she was in, they do the same thing in church. They call them prophets, they call them whatever they call them. But but if you go outside that realm, you call yourself a psychic or medium, then you get kind of slammed around a little bit. She helps people. She does training classes. This is her second book that she's written. She's all about light, and I talk about it a little bit in the book, and a couple of things that we've experienced together in the book as well too. Her name is Joy Andreasen. Even the way that we end up getting together is almost, in the book I say there's no such thing as coincidence. Things just kind of work together as far as us finding the same path in different ways. Her doing what she does, and I do what I do, and when we cross paths and work together and help each other out in those situations.
Yeah, but, you're on the same vibration.
Exactly. And what I try to tell people too, when we talk about these thought forms, like we talk about this case that we did, if we're able to generate that kind of negativity through energies we're holding on to, we're putting out, think how much good we could do if we put out good energy and try to make the world we live in a little better place too. So I look at it from a spiritual standpoint on both sides, learning from what we experience and trying to teach people how to make those things work in a positive manner.
Yeah. There's
So-
people that are forward that are going to be the teachers, you know, as the world starts to shift.
You got. I mean, we have to get away from all this stuff that's where every week I get an email from some casting company. They want do you have any really nasty investigations, really demon stuff? Do you have all this? And, that's been put out there so much that every time anybody experiences something, they think it's all about negativity.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
More and more, you're right.
I mean, I was just telling the story about I had 4 ghosts in my house. They were like the best ghosts in the world. We used to sit and watch TV together. And then I recently was told it's time to move them on, so I passed them on. And
I didn't ask. Why were they there? Why did they stay behind? What do you think?
One
Why?
was a little girl. I don't know where she came. She was playing with the lights. And there was a man and 2 women. I think they all worked there. Because that used to be a stable and then a housing for them.
One of the EVPs we got in there was
Her name was Heather.
It was giggling too.
Yeah, her
And
name was
Heather came up. Heather came up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, and I don't know the name of the man, but it's like wherever I would go, remember I was telling you I would play Abraham Hicks for them, and they loved it. They sat and listened to it all day, and they stopped bothering me.
all right.
They loved it. I swear to God, they would sit around and listen to it.
But it just and those are things. I also try to tell people not to get caught up in words. For example, we use the term ghost or spirit, and we really don't know. Every medium I've talked to has a different view and perspective of what they think the other side is. If in fact the other side is the other side and we're not the other side, sometimes I think that maybe we're their ghosts too.
Yeah,
There's
we
all
say
kinds.
those times. It's funny because it's like, yeah, what if they like trying to get pictures of us and stuff?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. That's right. Well, in different dimensions as far as who knows? Who knows? But yeah, you're
We
right.
could be their ghost, and they
Right.
they don't us.
Well, in fact, yeah. In one of your chapters, I was reading. And is it in fact like we get an EVP that says "get out"? Is it actually them thinking that us in another dimension are a ghost, and it could be ourselves. It could be. It's very interesting reading.
Yeah, makes sense.
You also have to wonder too, of all the people who've died and what we call died and passed, the billions of people of the history of the world, why isn't there more chatter out there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you feel good if you catch up, a good number of EVPs. In some cases, if you catch one, you get excited and all. But of all the millions of people who passed, I mean, you think there'd be a lot more chatter going on if what we think is going on is going on. But the one premise I say throughout the book that none of us really know anything for sure. We can hypothesize, we can express the way we feel, we can express, and everything that we experience, it has to go through our personal filters as well too. For example, the gentleman you had on earlier with his near-death experience.
Right.
What do you have to compare that to? How do you know what dying is if you haven't died before?
Yeah, exactly.
But he's out of it.
But still, you have no comparison. For example, if someone's Christian, they're going to see Jesus. If they're Protestant, if they're Catholic, sometimes they see Mary. Me, I had like a 20-second what I call semi near-death experience, if there's such a term, and all I saw was nothing. I didn't see Elvis. I didn't see anybody.
You know what I saw? I never really talked about this, but it's probably going to blow my brother's mind. But when I was 13, went into a coma, diabetic coma.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was looking down at my body and looking down at, I was looking down at people. My parents were there. And I was kind of looking down, and I remember the doctor saying, telling my father, it's a long history, but he was like a tough father, tough love. Right? And
He was
they're telling him
determined.
that we don't think he's going to make it. He's probably going to die. And he started crying, and I could see that. And I was close. It was close. So for me,
I
it was
remember that.
peaceful. And
You were lucky that Cindy was home that day.
yeah, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, I had the
you were home, and that's where you went into it. And if
me,
no
it
one
was
was there,
peaceful.
you would be dead right now.
Yeah, it was peaceful. Yeah, but yeah.
The things we don't, we call that our consciousness that goes on. when I lecture, I'll be doing a lecture tomorrow. The first thing I tell people is they think the opposite of life is death, and what I tell them is the opposite of death is birth, and that life is energy, and energy continues on. It just changes form. So life is actually never ending. It just changes form, which still ties in with the fact that we live different lives, past lives, future lives, whatever. So the opposite of death is not life. The opposite of death is birth. They're two individual events that happen once, but what the continuum through both those situations is the life energy.
So do you think quickly or almost immediately when we die we are reborn, or?
No, I think you take a little break in between.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you know when it happens. What do you think?
That's my guess. My guess is you want to take a little break.
Curious.
Be a bubble like the other.
Like an
Frank
orb?
was saying.
Like an orb bubble?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always hypothesize. We don't know, and even when it does happen to us, we don't know if that consciousness that we have now is going to carry through, so we actually know what we're experiencing either.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
interesting. It really is. It's just what happened.
It's mind-boggling. For
Really?
example, when we catch, for example, if you saw in the book the one photograph I call it looks like a Confederate soldier in one of the places that we did. To me, that's not a ghost. To me, that's another dimension of time that kind of overlapped there for that very split, fraction of a second.
Like residual.
Well, I don't like to use residual because residual means it's happening over and over again. I think it's still happening. I think the past, the present, and the future are all going on at the same time. And it's like if you put a DVD in at 7 o'clock on one DVD player, and you put another one on a different DVD player at 8 o'clock, and another one on at 9 o'clock, you got the same movie going on, but it's happening at different times, different time stamps there. For example, if I theorize, which I can't prove it no more than psychologists can prove their theory on deja vu. You walk into a room or you experience a situation and say, wow, that happened before. I remember that happening before. Yeah, maybe it did. Maybe that we did jump into the future before. We did move into the past. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm looking at that picture right now showing Jeff.
Time is a man-made thing
Confederate
anyway.
soldier.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at it's already August. What already happened from January 1st to now? Does it really matter when you think about it? It's like now is the only time that really matters.
It's gone.
It matters to us now, but again, we keep moving. The time keeps moving, and people talk about time travel, which I think I try to tie a lot of different things together. For example, the word paranormal has gotten kind of narrowed down to talking about ghosts and spirits, when actually originally it encompassed UFOs, it encompassed time travel, anything supernatural that we couldn't explain.
That's why I showed description. It's like everything
That's why
paranormal.
we're everything paranormal. We
That's
talk
true,
to
yeah.
UFO people.
That's
we
right.
talk to
Bigfoot people.
Bigfoot.
Cryptology.
Yeah.
It's
Weatherman.
unbelievable. The Mothman.
Mothman.
Yeah, it's all good. Yep. It's all good stuff. You're right.
But what's funny, you'll find people who believe in ghosts, but they won't believe in Bigfoot or they won't believe in UFOs, which I find amusing somewhat.
Yeah.
If you go to
How can you deny UFOs? I mean, there's no way. Bigfoot, I'm dying to see something convincing. I don't know.
Well,
that's a skeptic in me, though.
The thing is, throughout history,
I want to.
people from all different parts of the world have seen the same thing. Before media and before everything else.
You mean Bigfoot?
People that would never even meet each other, they all seen like
where are the remains?
Like the orbs or the
the stuff like that, right.
The remains, the nature takes care of it. They just right down to. I was just talking about this earlier. Right down to ants eating the bones. You never see a bear carcass when they die.
You go back to what you're saying about aliens, things like that, creatures from the past. Look in the caves and the drawings in the caves and things like that.
We're half alien, remember?
Huh?
Remember the guy said we're half alien, of the guest last week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, even if you talk about UFOs and you talk about time travel, one theory that I've heard that I subscribe to sometimes is the UFOs that we see. For example, you always hear about them being able to zip out of sight and they don't make any sound.
Right.
What if they're actually time travelers and the people in those UFOs are us from the future, and they come back in these UFO abductions where they're doing testing on humans? Maybe they're coming back to their past, trying to find out why this particular disease or what happened to the human race that made them evolve to the point that they are now.
Stuff like that blew my mind in your book, and that's why it was great, Jeff. I'm telling you, that was, it's like, wow. He's right. It makes you think. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Definitely a good angle on it, yeah.
Get abducted. You're like, whoa, it's me.
Yeah, Jesus, that was me. And then,
Not necessarily you personally, but they're just coming back. For example, if we were to go back in time and find out, before we discovered what happened with the Black Plague or whatever, or polio and things, if we didn't have those answers, if we could go back in time and find those cures, so going forward we didn't have all those, hundreds of thousands, millions of people dying from a disease that we learned to control in our past. Is your head hurt yet?
No.
no, it's really
No.
great.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
I mean, how do we know? It's like nobody knew about the radio before it was invented, and so how do we know
those
how
radio
people
waves
or
are
why
going
they
on
travel in
and
or,
on and on and on.
it's. Do you really need to know? I mean, when you
No.
think about it,
No,
No,
you
it's
don't need to know.
yeah.
But it's
But
better to talk about the Kardashians.
No, I'm not saying what that, but I'm just saying there's some people that they like look into this alien stuff and
I need to know.
they're doing research
wanna
on
know.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know? You have no concept of what they're doing and how, and it's just we're using our own human minds to try to put the pieces together, but it could have nothing to do with how they actually do it. It doesn't.
And the same way it can go with ghosts and spirits. 'Cause
Yeah.
The only basic knowledge we have is what we have. We haven't been on the other side, even though some people, say they've traveled to the other side, either psychically or near death or whatever. We're kind of like plumbers going in to fix, the atom bomb. All we have is a wrench and a hammer, and we're going to try to fix things and figure out how it works.
Yeah. So I mean,
But all you know is what you think you know.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
because I mean,
Well,
basically,
true.
if we don't have the slightest concept of what's going on over there, what our minds perceive to be is probably nothing close to how
Well,
they
if
really
anything,
do stuff.
it's a learning experience. You're like,
Yeah.
why do you want to know? I do want to know.
No,
I
it's
want to know.
good. I mean, it's good to explore stuff. That's what
Absolutely.
we're here for, is to explore stuff.
What we're all about.
But the fun thing about this whole genre is nobody's right, nobody's wrong, because we don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
But they still argue.
There are no experts. There are no experts.
Yeah.
in the field. That's
Nobody's right and nobody's wrong, but there's a lot of drama going on in the paranormal field.
Oh, I know, and you'd be surprised how many people think there are experts out there. It's just, it just floors me that some of the stuff that people buy into. I mean, I'm sure just like anybody else, you've seen pictures on Facebook or on the internet of things that just unbelievable.
Well, we can admit, TV shows, things like that, maybe got us into it a little bit. I mean, plus
Yeah.
personal
So
experience.
it's curious.
But now it's you agree, Clint, it's maybe kind of out of control where,
Yeah.
it's all about ratings and,
But what it did was it got us curious about it.
it did.
Started thinking
But
about
I
it.
think it's changed now where it's more about ratings and it's more about,
Yeah.
so let's keep the
But
ratings up. Let's,
we took what they gave us and made us curious, and then we went about our own way about it.
well, we did.
You know?
We
So
educated
who cares
ourselves.
what they're doing?
Yeah, well, I said that in the book. I mean, the TV shows have good and bad points. I mean, for me, just like you guys, they got me interested, got me out there starting to do some research, and I finally realized, well, the TV's entertainment, and that's what you should take it. I still watch some of them. I know a lot of the guys on the different shows, and I still watch them, and I know the entertainment, but I've talked to them, and I know how that works as well too. But you got to have some kind of inspiration and motivation, and then you just weed off the good stuff and the bad stuff and separate it and go out. And for me personally, a lot of people want to compare pictures they get or EVPs, and I think the fact that people try to compete on, well, that's not as good as mine or whatever, that's when we lose sight of what we're really after. It's actually a personal experience. If we really want to be honest with ourselves, we're actually making a personal journey to find out what we think is going on to solve our own curiosity.
Nice.
Nice. That's all you ever say, Jeff. Nice.
I'm agreeing with him.
Okay, well, that's good.
Well,
Yeah, you might say, oh,
Go ahead. When we come down to it, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's just, it's about what you take from it personally. And that's what I try to tell people. For example, I use this in my lecture. I say, I've got an EVP that I play for him. Me and my buddy were sitting in a room with two other people doing a residential investigation. His back's messed up. He's sitting on the floor, so he has to get up and move because he's hurting. And as he's walking across the floor, I got an EVP, strong male voice says, "Where's he going?" Okay? So if there's somebody in that room, we don't know who it is. It could be somebody we have no idea it is. It could be crazy Uncle Charlie. It could be your old Aunt Mabel who used to wear too much lipstick and want to kiss you on the lips at Christmas. If there's somebody possibly watching us 24/7, maybe we maybe ought to be a little bit more careful about what we say, how we act, what we do. Because if we're just catching that in that particular time, we're not carrying a recorder around with us 24/7. How do we know there's not somebody there? We're not picking up on either psychically or with equipment or otherwise. That's watching everything we do and say.
nah,
Jeff, you gotta be careful.
I was just thinking that.
Your private time.
They can watch whatever.
No pictures.
I can't be worried about etiquette all the time. That I just,
Yeah.
can watch.
Jeff's got a lot of ghosts in his house. They're over laughing. He has lots of spirits.
Yeah.
You get rid of, but you still have few, right?
There's more.
Yeah, okay.
I got rid of some and more came.
Yeah, they could be your guides, they could be your guardian angels, or like I said, they could be crazy Uncle Charlie who's still sleeping on the couch trying to sleep one off.
Oh yeah, yeah. It could be anybody, and it could be different people at different times too.
Exactly, because that's what when I tell people they want to go on an investigation and they're trying to make contact with a guy named John from 1872. Well, in 1872, there are probably a lot of guys named John, but if you're just going in there to look for one person, and it's a historic location, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people have come and gone through there.
Lots of history.
Yeah, and you don't know who you're talking to unless you get a definitive answer. And when you get the name John or Mary or whatever, that doesn't really tell you a whole lot. So you don't want to tie into that. What you want to tie into is the experience that you communicated with something in some form in a different dimension other than what you're in.
That seems interesting, right? Jeff and I, our connection is I'm more technical and I am more skeptic, I think.
Yeah, but you're
And
sensitive
you're more,
too.
I am, but I just I'm like in denial. And I still go with that. I still try to go with my gut feeling. But the point is that you are more spiritual, Jeff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with Clay and his wife, when you guys go in, they seem to have the same connection, where he might go on what she says, or a little bit, and start to either videotape or do an EVP or thermal camera, something like that. So you guys kind of work the same way that way?
Yeah, it's kind of what we do.
Yeah,
that is what we do.
kind of the same way, right?
Yeah, when my wife and I do those things, that's what we work. And when I work with a group,
Wife. Just my bitch.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
Hey, we're brothers.
No,
We're not from Maine, though.
from South Salem. We're not from the South.
We're not from Maine.
But the Spirit Watch group that I do most of my work with, we have two ladies in there who are very, what we call empaths, and they pick up on a lot of things. I mean, the one lady picks up on pain from people who've been injured in places, or they pick up on heaviness and things like that. So we kind of balance both the technical and the spiritual aspect of it.
Yep. And try to document each with each.
I would hate
Perfect.
to have my role be the one that feels the pain and everything in a investigation.
So what do you, Jeff? You're not an empath. You are what?
I don't feel pain or anything. I just feel
Psychopath.
energy. It's all energy, And then if it's stronger energy, I can sense what it is and I can get images. But a lot of times I can just feel the energy. It's a woman and she's old. But if it's a real strong and they want me to know, then I'll start getting images. But I don't push it that far. That way I don't bring home attachments.
Clay, how far do you see things like that now? I mean, I know the further and the longer I've been doing this, I start to actually almost see things. See apparitions, see
Yeah, feel their
See when I'm
energies.
talking, just feel it and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel a heavy room, feel a light room.
Have you
Yeah.
developed anything?
I can feel the changes in the energy. I usually pick it up on my forearms. I don't see things unless I've had some Jack Daniels before I go there, but I don't drink for investigations. But I haven't seen any apparitions or I feel the energy. I don't have the gift as deeply as my wife does or some of the other folks in the group. But
You can go into a room and feel if it's heavier or lighter, Everybody does that. And everybody that goes on an investigation after a while can feel that. You go in a room and you're like, whoa, this is a heavy room.
Not
Something's
everybody.
going on in here.
Not everybody.
some people just have are like rocks or stones. They don't have any of that feeling going on at all. And that's why I try to get people to get away from the gadgets and the equipment, because you're focusing outwardly, looking at equipment, as opposed to focusing inwardly and trying to pick up on what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, it's a great point.
So, but like I said, these are just my takes on things. I mean, nobody has the answer. But I think the real thing I try to accomplish with people is to educate and also let them know that don't be afraid to experience things or look into things based upon the beliefs you've been taught. I mean, you gentlemen talked about religions earlier in the show with your other guests, and it's okay for people to teach you how to think, but don't let them teach you what to think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's religion or politics or whatever. I mean, the TV shows or TV commercials. Think for yourself and go out there and experience what life has to offer. I mean, it's amazing the people who get caught up in things that they won't believe in ghosts, but they'll read a religious text that is probably more paranormal than anything we'll ever experience and believe that.
I mean, they get guys rising from the dead.
They're more about telling you what to think. It's like subliminal. It's like,
Oh, yeah, because it's like they want to control the masses anyway.
Right.
And there'll always be people that break away from it, but they want to control the masses of the people. It's just, their power.
Well, that's what the first thing I say to them when they ask me, so how do you reconcile this with religion? I said, well, the Bible is my my most favorite paranormal book. I mean, you got people parting Red Seas, you got people walking on water, turning water into wine. I mean, you got them doing all kinds. You got a guy putting two of every animal on a boat when I don't know that polar bears and penguins were indigenous to the Middle East.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good point, actually. It's right.
Yeah, I mean,
I never thought of that, but he's right.
So that's the most.
I'm from.
Yeah.
So I just tell them, I said, stop and think instead of having somebody tell you how to think. Just think for yourself. Step back and think about fine, you can believe those things, but you don't have to be caged in and then have your thinking done for you. Which I think, unfortunately, a lot of people want to be told how to think and what to do.
Yeah. Well, it's
right?
Most of our beliefs that hold us back came to us before we were 7 years old.
I can't remember that far back, sorry, fellas.
No, but they're in your subconscious, and a lot of people, something that isn't even a truth in their life is what's holding them back. That's what my new program is going to be on at angelsguide.org.
Yeah, but we're talking about Clay right now. We're not talking about you.
Yeah, but it's true. It's like a lot of people will form a belief from something they heard or something they were taught. And I mean, we're all born as spiritual.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, we're all born as spiritual beings. But it's what we absorb before we're 7 goes into our subconscious, and that becomes our beliefs. And those are the beliefs that hold you back.
Damn, it's my mother. My mother's to blame.
Yeah, I
love you, Ma.
Yeah.
Well, that goes into what my wife's new book, being raised Pentecostal, and the things that she was taught to believe, and she wasn't even allowed to watch Disney movies because they were thought to be evil and work of the devil because you had animals who talked in the movies. So you get held onto those things, and all of a sudden you realize, I can sit around and pray, and gee, nothing's happening, and you finally realize, well, you got to get up and do something besides just pray.
Yeah.
So it's like what you talked about. When you talk about the law of attraction, that comes back to the thought forms they're talking about. The energy you put out is what's going to carry you through, and that's what's going to come back to you. If you're putting out negative stuff, negative stuff's going to come back to you.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's why. I mean,
Absolutely.
you need to. I mean, the number one thing you need to do is watch your thoughts. You know, if you start getting into this little spiral of replaying something that happened in the past, you got to stop it and replace it with something.
Yeah, one of the things my wife said in her first book was your thoughts become your prayers. So if you're thinking it, you're praying for it, and that's what's going to happen for you.
Good or bad, no matter what.
Exactly.
I definitely agree with her, because it's, you know, it's whatever, you know, I mean, if everybody, like I said, for 7 days, if you could just catch your thoughts, you would retrain your brain to that would become automatic for you.
So any negative thought, you stop.
You know how some days...
You refocus.
Yeah. You know how some days,
Right.
like, you're just replaying something bad that happened in your
Yeah,
life?
like some mornings, like this morning, for instance, I woke up kind of like, you know, yeah.
Or you start thinking, like, into the future. Am I going to have enough money to pay these bills or that? Right there, you stop your thoughts. You say, just, you know, something I do simple. I just say, thank you for that thought. Now I'm going to let it go. And then I just try to replace it with something else. You know? And so I'm not spiraling and thinking of that and thinking of stuff that may never happen.
Right.
Or you're thinking of the past of something you could have done different, but you didn't. You can't change that at all, you know? But you can change what you're thinking right now and make it better, you know? Say, if you get this call from like a bill collector or something, you just say, oh, I have plenty of money. Money's coming, you know? You just try to change it.
Yeah.
You know? It's better than thinking of, oh, no, I'm not going to have money by Friday, so... he's going to come break my legs.
Well, the thing about money is, like my mentor, John Tenney, I had him come down to a motivational lecture with Dustin Perry last fall. And he said, if your problem's money, it's not a problem because it can be solved with money. It's not like you're diagnosed with a deadly disease where you're going to die tomorrow and there's no cure for it.
It's true.
Money's just energy.
That is true.
You know, people
There's
think
no
that
hope.
that's the goal. Freedom is the goal, not money.
Exactly.
You're right.
You know, freedom is what we strive for to
Peace of
experience
mind and-
more
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Money, health, and relationships are all energy. You know.
Yeah, they're huge.
So it's like, you know, you cut your finger. You don't sit there and say, oh, I hope this is going to heal. You know it is. Same thing with diseases. You know, if you let your body just do what your body's supposed to do, you'd be fine.
Sure.
But people start watching TV shows and they're like, oh no, Ebola, I'm going to have those big blisters all over me. You know, and that's how diseases spread. If people would just, you know, not even know about them, they wouldn't spread as much.
Fear propagates itself.
Yes, exactly. So next thing you know, there's going to be this big Ebola thing. You know, I'm not getting it, I know that much.
Remember the avian flu?
Yeah, the flu, everything like that.
The avian flu, everybody was scared to death they were going to get the bird flu, 5 years ago? Well, nothing ever happened with it.
Everybody walking around with surgical masks and stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember that.
That's
And a
right.
lot of times fear is put out there to control us.
Yes, it is.
Whether it be governments or whether it be churches or whether it be fears. I mean, even the insurance companies, everybody uses fear as a tool to control you.
Oh, yeah. Fear's the greatest motivator, the greatest tool there is to get someone to do what you want.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's, and, you know, even like the messages that you get. I mean, there's some songs they say that are like that, and, you know, it's just the vibration of it.
Yep. It's and another thing that you may remember from the bookmark is there's one chapter called it's from the Kenny Chesney song. It's called "Everybody Wants to Go to Heaven, but Nobody Wants to Go Now."
Right? Yeah.
So I always wonder, I say, well, if your beliefs are so strong, you know, there's this blissful place somewhere on the other side or wherever you want to call it. But you fight tooth and nail not to go now. I don't want to go now. You know, I'll buy $10,000 worth of vitamins and I'll go to the doctor every day.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to go now. So it's all a matter of, you know, what you say and what you believe and what you really believe.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's their source telling them they don't want to go now because they're not done experience what they're supposed to experience yet.
We don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's just another theory, maybe.
That's the magic of this whole genre. I mean, that's what keeps us going. If we had all the answers, you know, we sit back and knock down a couple pints and that'd be the end of it. Just relax.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the universe is built from expansion. So if we're not expanding, the universe doesn't exist, basically.
Yeah, and I try to use this too to motivate people. One of the things I put up in my PowerPoint presentation is I have a picture of the universe, and then I have a little arrow that points to where our solar system is in the universe, and I say, you think you got a bad day? What's going on with you means nothing in terms of the universe, and you have to think about that. I mean, even though you want to think of yourself as having being a good person and that you're important and you have some self-esteem, but what's happening in your life is pretty much irrelevant to the rest of the universe. We're just little ants on the cob.
Yeah. We could be in some alien snow globe right now.
Snow globe?
Yeah, and we could be in some alien on his shelf, like some kid alien on his shelf. And
Well, this whole thing, this whole life experience could be an illusion.
That's right.
For example, the colors we see with our eyes, there's no such thing as red. It's the way our eyes, the cones and rods interpret the light. So we're living in a world that's just, an illusion.
No, that's right. I mean, even like tables and chairs, they're not real. They're just different vibrations of different things.
Exactly. So,
rocks, everything.
I'm afraid if anybody's listening, we've got their head exploding by now.
Yeah. You lost me with the chairs aren't real. What do you mean?
It's the vibration of the molecules and the atoms that makes it appear as a chair.
Yeah, quantum mechanics, where it's actually,
Yeah. So it's basically, if that is in a different formation of vibration and molecules or whatever, it would be a bed. It's just everything. The whole universe is vibrational, and everything, like down to rocks, ants, everything.
So it's really what you put out there?
Yeah.
It's all about what you put out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you start thinking of a better life, it has to come to you, and if you can do it with enough emotion, and
You gotta believe.
and you need to feel it. You need to feel it before it arrives. You need to meet that feeling of the vibration that you're putting out.
Okay.
yeah, and you can take your experiences on investigations and use those experiences to help motivate your life and realize there's more to what's going on than your day-to-day life right now.
Oh yeah, no, it's like if we just laid in the dirt when we died, that wouldn't be much fun.
Well, no.
I mean, if that, like these atheists, they believe that nothing happens. The energy never stops moving. Energy is always moving. So,
Right.
I mean,
continues.
how can that even be a theory, scientifically or spiritually, that energy stops? Because it doesn't.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, like earlier, we had discussed it. All religions believe in some kind of afterlife.
Oh, yeah.
Or life goes on. The
And
spirit
they're all
goes
basically
on.
they all have the
Energy
same,
goes on.
They all have the same scriptures, just in different wording.
Right. All right, Clay Smith, we are just about running out of time, so tell people where they can find your book and where they can kind of get in touch with you, follow you.
Well, it's real simple. You go to spiritwatch.net. The book is available there. You can find me under Clay Smith or Spirit Watch on Facebook. So get a hold of me for events, the events I'll be doing. If they want to book an event, have me come lecture and talk and help blow their mind a little bit. And starting August 26th, I'll be starting my own radio show called Spirit Watch Radio with Clay Smith, too.
But no. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
We missed our last guest, but we have to ask you our question of the week.
Got to ask you.
What's your opinion? What's your opinion of the Ouija board?
I think the Ouija board goes back to what we've talked about the whole show. It has to do with your intention. If your intention is to try to communicate with something that's not too nice, and you're going to do that, you also have the power to move things physically with your mind too. You just don't realize that as well too. You can accomplish the same thing with a 2x4 and a slab of plywood as you can with the Ouija board, because Parker Brothers doesn't have a corner on the spirit market.
There you go. Or
So-
a K2 meter.
Yep. So we call that a yay for the
That's
Ouija
it.
board.
Yes. All right.
Back up. We had one nay last week. The first nay in a long time.
Yeah. Well, hey, it happens.
Yeah, whatever.
Clay Smith, thank you very much for calling into Everything Paranormal with Mark and Jeff. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure, and maybe we'll meet up sometime soon. I have to Salem, see what's going on.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
there you go.
Come on down,
Come on
look
up.
us up. Yep, we'd love to hang out with you. Thanks a
We'll
lot.
do it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You
All right,
too.
you too. Folks, that was Clay Smith, the author of All You Know Is What You Think You Know, and I read this book, Jeff, and I'm giving it to you, and it was a
Thank you.
great book. It's great reading. It really makes you think.
Yeah, he has
You
some
know,
interesting
Oh,
point of
it's
view.
great. Oh, it's really good. It's really good. He knows what he's doing, and he knows what he's talking about. He's got a lot of experience, and it's really good.
He's thinking outside the box.
Yeah, thinking outside the box. I'd love to have him come to Salem.
Yeah.
By the way, if you got to come to Salem, witchcityghost.com. Bring about 5 or 6 people down for a tour.
Bring
and
20.
We will give you a 20's better. Busloads are welcome. And I'll give you one of the best paranormal ghost hunting tours in the city. It's just like Ghost Hunt 101.
It's awesome.
And you are the investigator. Jeff, what's your website?
angelsguide.org. Look at what I got up there, and I'm working on something new.
All right. Thanks for listening to Everything Paranormal with Mark and Jeff. I'm Mark.
I'm Jeff.
And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See ya.
Yep, I have to. Next week we have a show. I think next week you get an hour for your thing. Because I only booked one yet. Cool. So I can do. You get like last hour. All right, cool.
Blog Talk Radio.
What?
Kicking ass and taking names. That's all I can say.
Nice. So you entered a butt-kicking contest.
No, I should have.
Nice.
No, I can't let people think that I already come off a little too hard. I don't need people thinking I kick people's ass all the time.
Believe me. Your documentary film right now is just, the editing, or just thinking about what you want to do and then edit, or just the whole darn thing, the whole process.
Man, the hardest thing about it was making a mistake by using an old camera and trying to bring it to the new computer systems. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's basically having to do, everything all over, basically.
Now, when you filmed on that camera, is it a tape, or is it, you go right to an SD card?
It's not digital. It's the tape.